SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
This show is brought to you by Sledge & Company Financial LLC. I'm Taylor Sledge, founder and CEO. At Sledge & Company, we help businesses and families do better with their money. Check us out on the web at sledgecompany.com. That's sledgecompany.com.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man.
Good morning, and welcome to Mornings with Richard Cross. You never know if it's going to come out the way you want it to, Lance. Sometimes there's a frog in your throat, and you're like, is it there? Is it there? Am I going to be okay? I think we're going to be okay this morning.
It sounds good.
Good morning to you.
Yeah,
glad to be with you as we roll into this Tuesday morning, the 15th of July, starting things off just after 6 o'clock. I'm coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia, College Football Hall of Fame. Today is day 2 of SEC football, the SEC football kickoff, media days, as we have called it for a really long time. Lance is in the studio. So where I sit at 7 o'clock, just after 7 o'clock, and I don't know why, but 7 o'clock feels a lot different than 6 o'clock. I know it's only an hour. I get it, but it feels a lot different than 6 o'clock. Regardless of the time zone, we're glad to be with you this morning. And we welcome you to the conversation on the C Spire text line at 601-879-4395. Every sports fan can tell you fast speeds win games. That's why C Spire brings you fiber home internet. Nationwide 5G wireless and IT solutions that move as fast as your business. Learn more at cspire.com. C Spire, inspired by you. With me in Atlanta, Houston McDavid. He is flying the spaceship from here. And back at the home station, the home base, Lance Tolbert. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. You caught me with a swig of Coca-Cola there. How's Atlanta this time of day? Is it even moving, or is it just waiting to get crunk up? Because we still have a little time to go here.
Up, you say?
Yeah, still getting crunk up.
That might be the best description for Atlanta.
Yeah, it gets going, doesn't it?
I think they've gotten, as you said, crunk up the last couple of nights with Beyonce at at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. But we're done with Beyonce. Busy week. So SEC Media Day is going on, and we feel like that's a big deal when we're here. But in the scheme of things that are happening in Atlanta, really not very big. When you get Beyonce playing and the All-Star game tonight, home run derby last night. So a lot going on in the big city of Atlanta. Don't want to live here, Lance.
Yeah. You don't want to live there.
Know a lot of good people. Yeah, know a lot of good people from here. There's some really cool stuff about Atlanta. Don't want to live here.
It is the times when you're getting to the East Coast or coming back to Mississippi, and you're trying to miss the traffic. That is a very difficult thing to do in Atlanta. It seems to be perpetual. And, that traffic is a weakness of mine. It's, not a phobia, but
big road rage guy.
Not really road rage. I'm not aiming it at anyone else. It's more, I'm trying to be efficient and trying to get everywhere on time. And, you want to hit the red lights right and all that stuff. So, but no, I don't like the people driving in the left lane on their phone, but, I don't get mad. I don't get mad at them or anything. No, nothing I can do about it. But yeah, I don't like traffic, Richard. That's my least favorite thing in the world.
Because it is inefficient, and there you go.
Yeah, hate it.
I can sign on for that explanation. Hey, you remember a couple of weeks ago when it felt like it was raining every day?
Yeah.
Not anymore. Hope you soaked in the water when it was here. Although there's a chance, right? You've got the stray thunderstorms in the afternoon. Tupelo, it's going to be hot today. You got mostly sunny skies, 94 degrees, winds out of the south, southwest, 5 to 10. Coffeyville, Mississippi, home of the Coffeyville Pirates. Yellowbusha County, sunny. Few afternoon clouds today, 94 degrees. Winds out of the southwest, 5 to 10. A little farther south, I guess we would say part of the metro, Clinton.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Generally sunny, despite a few clouds. Again, high of 94, winds light, variable, which is to say not very much. Purvis, mostly sunny skies, 96 degrees today. Winds light, variable, hot. Sunscreen time of the year. You need it a lot, and drink a lot of water. Linda Ronstadt was born on this day in 1946, 78 years old. You know, we talk about musicians that are alive today, and it's hard to put them in a box. Like, hey, are they country, or are they rock and roll, or are they pop? Is it a blend of all those things? It's kind of Linda Ronstadt. Rock, country, pop, Latin, a little bit of opera mixed in. That's really hard to put her in a box.
Well, she is just an amazing talent. The Linda Ronstadt, Aaron Neville album, I think that was like 90s or something. Yeah. It was kind of earth-shattering stuff. I still get a little juiced up hearing that.
Yeah. She was an actress as well, was in Pirates of Penzance, born in Tucson, Arizona, 78 years old today. 74 years old today. Actually, she'd be 75, wouldn't she? Ariana Huffington. Remember her, Huffington Post?
Oh, yeah.
Greek-American author, syndicated columnist, creator of the Huffington Post. Born in Athens, Greece. She was one of the early adopters, she took advantage of the dawn of the Internet age and made millions and millions and millions of dollars. And was a very influential voice. And, you listen to her, it's like, wait, what's that accent? Oh, that's Greek? Wait, why are you commenting on American politics? But she did, and she was widely listened to, generally conservative but not over the top. Ariana Huffington, 74 years old today. She played a role in, do you remember the Uber movie? Did you watch that? The story of Uber about Kalanick and the investors, and she was a pretty significant advisor and confidant to the founder of Uber.
I've always respected Huffington Post. I used it a great deal in finance. You always try to get as many perspectives as you can, and I always found that to be pretty online. I always liked the work they did, and seemed to pump out a ton of fairly relevant articles on a regular basis too. They worked, so you got to appreciate that. But yeah, she did a little cameo on Family Guy when Brian the dog made a spot on the Bill Maher show, and she absolutely rails him. So yeah, she's a tough one too. Didn't put up with a whole lot.
Talented actor Forrest Whitaker, 63 years old today, born in 1961, the last of Scotland, Platoon, and so many others, born in Longview, Texas. Forrest Whitaker. I say 63, 64. They're off by a year on the ages today. The algorithm was a little messed up. C-Spire text line to you, 601-879-4395. The ATL is an emoji hole. Okay?
Hey, don't forget about Alex Karras.
I see your emoji.
Don't forget about Alex Karras out there. It would have been 90 Blazing Saddles, Porky's. If you remember Porky's, that was a good one back in the day.
He rode a blazing saddle.
Beloved actor. Also, remember, he was a defensive tackle for the Detroit Lions before he got into the acting world. So,
yeah. Jerry says, you guys are really football people. Baseball is my sport. Like I said before, whatever season it is, I keep up with it. Can't get into recruiting for football. I'm a minority, I guess, still reigning in Corinth at my house anyway. All right. So you got some raindrops in Corinth this morning. Jerry, well documented, you are a baseball guy. And you're right, that you are a minority at this point in the landscape of sports. Baseball is probably on the American sports landscape. You have gotten to the point where the NFL is a clear and distant number one. College football has moved into number two. And then it's just a debate. Is it the NBA? Is it soccer? Is it Major League Baseball? I'll let you debate it from there. I still love it. investing your time for 162 games is hard.
Oh, it sure
Especially on the heels of really investing in a 56-game regular season in college baseball and a conference tournament and a regional and a super regional in the College World Series. And I do that. I invest in the entire college baseball season. So from February, it's like there's only so much bandwidth, though. And you got to pick and choose. It's why I don't really follow the NFL. I mean, I kind of keep up with it. I keep an idea. I'll casually watch. Big game interests me. I'll go on, jump on board with that. But in terms of locking in and following a team in every single play of every single game and the world stops, I can't do it. Like, there's only so much bandwidth, only so much I can lock in on. Because I still kind of want to be a dad and feel like I need to be a husband, want to be a husband. A couple of radio shows to work through, like to get to the golf course. I don't know how people do it that do everything all the time. But good for you, Jerry. Fun weekend still, I think, with the All-Star weekend. Home Run Derby, we'll get to that coming up in just a little bit. Cal Raleigh, a winner last night. Just getting started with you. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. Thanks for starting your day with us. We're back right after this.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
15 minutes, there's something.
The talk you love.
They really talk about the things that matter. I'm into all that stuff.
Mornings with Richard Cross. Super Talk, Mississippi.
You got me, Lance. You got me on the little chuckle right before the break ended. Did you know that on this day in 1799, the Rosetta Stone was found in the Egyptian village of Rosetta by French captain Pierre-François Bouchard during Napoleon's Egyptian campaign? Now, this is not the online learning to speak another language tool. Yeah. This is the actual Rosetta Stone.
Indiana Jones found that, though, didn't he? During the Temple of Doom?
It was actually discovered in 1799. They just hit it again to make the movie.
Okay, good, yeah.
He did discover it, but it was a different deal.
I love that movie, though. A lot of people don't like the Temple of Doom.
1948, a significant day for many, many, many across the world. Alcoholics Anonymous was founded on this day in Britain in 1948. I'm telling how many lives that program has saved. The twist dance, come on, baby, let's do the twist. That one. This day in 1960, it all got started when Chubby Checker released his version of the twist in the United States. Honky Chateau, Elton John's first #1 album in the U.S., was released on this day in 1972, including I'm not even sure what word I just said, including the hit Rocket Man.
I didn't know the name of the album. I love the song, but Honky Chateau, that kind of threw me. I had to double check on that. Yeah.
How good is that? A day of significance, a day of importance, a day in which we should all stop and give a certain amount of reverence, excuse me, to one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time that launched on this day in 1988, Die Hard, directed by John McTiernan, starring Bruce Willis and Alan Rickman, released in the United States. One of the all-time great Christmas movies, even though it was released in July.
Yep.
And a lot of people like to point to that, but if you look at some of the great Christmas movies, some of the great Christmas albums, they were released in the spring and the summer. They want to give you a chance to get them in the rotation so that when the holidays roll around and you are looking for a Christmas movie, Die Hard is the first thing you think of.
Yeah, hit repeat quick.
Mm-hmm. A couple other quick ones for you. Wedding Crashers, Owen Wilson, Vince Vaughn, premiered this day in 2005. Korean pop singer Psy released Gangnam Style this day in 2012. And the world was never the same.
Exactly.
Topping the charts in 36 countries.
Was that
Gangnam Style?
Was that one of the first social media hits? I mean, because you remember you could see it.
Big deal.
Big deal. Hey,
I'm going to ask you to stretch your musical horizons. Yeah. We're going to need Gangnam Style for some bump music.
I'll throw it out there today. Hey, I wanted to mention this before we rolled on. It was kind of odd. The world's tallest man, Robert Wadlow, passed away on this day in 1940. He was 8 feet 11 inches, reached 439 pounds, and his shoe size was a 37 AA. So I guess a fairly narrow foot there. Pretty long, though. But the thing that made it interesting is on the same this day in history, General Tom Thumb, he was the smallest man in history, was the first guy that P.T. Barnum really built his show around. He passed away on this day, not the same year, but I found it interesting that the world's tallest man.
What were his dimensions?
I had a hard time finding it, but he was like, let's see, he didn't weigh but 7 kilograms until his teens, and he was like half a meter tall. So they're doing this in meters and kilograms and stuff. So but
okay,
he wasn't a very big guy to say the least. Right. But he was known as the little queen of beauty and such like that. But it was just interesting. 8 foot 11 inch guy, and then the world's smallest guy at the time. Both passed away on this day. Significant, I guess, in that world.
8'11".
Yeah, that's what threw me.
400 something pounds.
Yeah.
That's
but the young man, he made it. Tom Thumb made it to 45 years old as a little guy, and can you imagine? The trials. And
how old was Big Boy when he passed away?
Oh man, let's see. He was world's tallest man. Passed away at the age of 22. So yeah, he didn't make it too long. But I was just thinking that with General Tom Thumb, the little guy, he had to. He was part of the circus act for many, many, many years, and so I'm sure that was a very difficult life for him as well. But made it to 45. Found that pretty interesting.
Probably couldn't put him in a circus act today. That probably would be
none of that stuff would.
This day, 2024, just a year ago today, Donald Trump says, "Hey, J.D. Vance, come on down. You're going to be my Republican vice presidential running mate." Also, today, November. That's tomorrow. I'm going to hold that one for one more day. I got some news headlines for you. The Nissan plant in Canton dealing with some changes as it pertains to electric vehicle production. Just over a year after Nissan announced plans to pause and the manufacture of a pair of electric cars, specifically at the Canton plant, officials confirmed a full cancellation of the sedans and a complete pause on EVs until 2028. Reportedly, they wanted to come up with better names for the cars because they were stuck with LZ1F and LZ1E. Not great, catchy names.
No,
they also were going to work on PZ1L.
PZ1L.
Couple of sedans and a crossover. Even if the short-term outlook is gloomy for EV production in Mississippi, the Japanese automaker still has big plans and big ideas for Canton. Much of Nissan's manufacturing in the United States is, much of their overseas manufacturing actually moving to the United States, partially in response to tariff costs. Wait. Hold on a second. You're telling me that automakers are moving production to the United States in response to tariffs so that they don't actually have to pay the tariffs?
That'll never work, Richard. Never.
That can't be right. I have been told over and over that any tariff is a tax on you, and you are the one that has to foot the bill for tariffs, not that the manufacturers would actually bring more jobs and more vehicles and more revenue to the United States. That can't be true.
And innovation and research and development, all that stuff comes back if you can entice them back, and then there's no tariff tax on us, right?
Yeah, it appears Canton is going to play a big role in the future of Nissan in terms of manufacturing. According to Car Scoops, a new electric SUV will begin production in Canton, along with an electric vehicle in the luxury Infinity line beginning in May of 2028. The Auto News outlet also hinted that perhaps a lightweight pickup truck could join the assembly line in the future. Very good news. Very good news. The AI surge is rolling in Mississippi. You've seen the announcements from Governor Tate Reeves. Belhaven part of the party, announcing earlier this week, yesterday, that they will soon offer the state's first fully online master's degree in artificial intelligence. The Master of Science in Applied Artificial Intelligence will be a 10-course program designed to enable working professionals to achieve the degree on a part-time basis. Each class will be 7 weeks and will prepare students for high-demand roles in technology, healthcare, finance, manufacturing, and more. The courses will include hands-on experience with tech industry standard tools. By the way, these mean nothing to me, but maybe they do to you. Python, TensorFlow, PyTorch, and more. A real-world business challenge will be the capstone project at the end of the master's program, allowing students to apply their new skills. What kind of jobs are we talking about on the backside of this? Well, glad you asked. Belhaven officials notice that graduates of the program will be uniquely equipped to succeed in burgeoning roles like AI specialists, machine learning engineers, natural language processing engineers, business intelligence analysts, and more. I'm telling you, you become an early adopter. And I'm not saying an early adopter of AI. I'm talking about an early adopter of an advanced degree within the artificial intelligence field, and you figure out a way to be a normal person and be able to apply that and be able to communicate with people. Just write your own ticket.
Yeah,
Lance, you go anywhere you want to go and do whatever you want to do, because every business in the world is trying to figure out how to leverage artificial intelligence into what they are doing.
Yeah,
even if they don't know what it does, they're like, hey, we got to figure out a way to get AI involved.
I want to figure out a way to get AI to get me that degree, and let it do the heavy lifting. But,
well, you got time to do that. Yeah. It's a part-time program.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I want to get AI to do it for me, be a master of AI and just let AI get the degree for me. This is per your request, sir.
Yes. The SEC has a top new bird. Wayne Sanderson Farms, one of America's leading poultry producers, whose Sanderson Farms retail brand is based in Mississippi, announced a multi-year sponsorship of the conference as the official chicken of the SEC. Multi-platform SEC-centric advertising campaign will be launched just in time for the college football season. We've got more Mornings with Richard Cross with you right after this. We'll have your sports update brought to you by Pearl River Resort on the other side of this timeout.
From the Seabrook.
Conversations and clarity. What a great way to start your Mississippi day. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
오빤 강남 스타일 강남 스타일 낮에는 따사로운 인간적인 여자 커피 한 잔에 여유를 아는 품격 있는 여자 밤이 오면
Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. Thanks for starting your day with us. Alongside Lance Talbert, I'm Richard Cross, Houston, helping me make it all happen here in Atlanta, Georgia. C-Spire text line open to you at 601-879-4395, 601-879-4395. So, I hear the United States will sell AI chips to China. Are we taking a page out of China's TikTok with spyware?
Let's hope so.
I would certainly hope so. Yeah, NVIDIA
you know what they say about payback.
Yes, I do know what they say about payback. Yes, I hope that's exactly what is going on, but we shall see. Well, we probably won't. We probably won't see. But yeah, NVIDIA came to the White House and they were like, look, there's a really big market over there, and we got a bunch of chips, and we're trying to grow. We're kind of like the biggest company in the entire world right now. Don't know if you've heard that, $4 trillion or whatever. And we kind of need to sell our chips to China. Okay? Thanks. No. Yeah, but we really need to. Okay, here's what I need you to do. I need you to track all their information and get it back to us. Not a problem. Okay, sell away. Feels like the conversation probably, art of a deal and whatnot. CC in Senatobia, oh, cool. The SEC desperately needed an official chicken.
I agree, though. Yeah, I'm glad it was, our guys.
Yes.
Excellent chicken.
No doubt. Very good chicken. Tom and Jackson says 3 feet, 1 meter. Yeah, we get to the meters about 3 feet. We understand.
Yeah,
although
I wasn't going specifics
think,
there.
Yeah, Lance needed the conversion.
Yeah, I wasn't going to try to do that in my head at 6-something in the morning. But
yeah. Nissan lost $5 billion last fiscal year. They did. Trying to right the ship a bit. Jerry in Corinth says, AA changed my life. I only smoke now. All right, Jerry. We're glad that AA changed. I mean, I'm serious. We were just kind of rolling through some of the things that happened on this day, and I saw that. I was like, man, whether you use AA or not, you probably know somebody that has, and there is no question, like it is not debatable, that Alcoholics Anonymous has saved many lives the world over.
You know how they say AA in Canada, right? Alcoholics Anonymous go, AA, eh?
Hey.
AA,
Thank you, Lance. Man, you are on it this morning. It's time for your morning sports update brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Find them online at pearlriverresort.com. Pearl River Resort, your home for casino thrills, family fun, and live entertainment. Visit them online at pearlriverresort.com. But better than that, visit them in person. Whether it's at Geyser Falls Water Park, the Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, the Golden Moon, the Silver Star, one of the great restaurants. If you're headed to the Neshoba County Fair, be sure to check out Philip M's while you are in town. Here's your sports update. Ole Miss pitcher Hunter Elliott coming back to Oxford next year. He will return for the 2026 season. After not hearing his name called through 10 rounds of the draft, the Tupelo native went to social media and posted a video. And it was the video of him coming back on the mound, and his message, like the type out in his little post online, was simply 26, as in the 26th season. 16 games this past season, 10-3, 102 strikeouts, sub-3 ERA. Helped get Ole Miss back to the postseason. He will be the only returning roster, as Jackson Prep alums Riley Maddox and Mason Nichols were both selected by MLB franchises. Ole Miss now waiting to see if relief arm Wilma Causland, who was drafted in the 7th round, is going to go or stay. You got High Point transfer Grant Richardson. He was taken in the 6th round, likely to go. A lot of guys going to be on the move. In all, 8 Ole Miss players were drafted in the couple of days. But Ole Miss was not unique in that category. 107 SEC baseball players, more than any other conference, were taken in the 2025 Major League Baseball draft. Finished up yesterday. Each SEC school had at least one player taken. All 30 Major League clubs drafted at least one SEC player. Arkansas led the way with 11. Georgia had 10. LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, each with 9. Boston Red Sox themselves took 9 SEC players. Kate Anderson from LSU was the first one drafted. Number 3 overall taken by Seattle. Cool news yesterday to see Hunter Hines drafted. Came back to Mississippi State after going undrafted following his junior season. And comes back and he's a top 10 draft pick after this past year. That's really neat.
Boy, can hit some bombs, man. Goodness.
Oh, man.
Looking forward to seeing him from the left side.
You know who else can hit bombs? Former Diamond Dog Brent Rooker. In fact, he hits bombs so well that they invited him to participate in the Home Run Derby. We didn't know that math was going to be involved, though.
Yeah.
Brent Rooker had 17 home runs in the first round of the tournament. So did Cal Raleigh, who went on to win the Home Run Derby last night. So how do they determine when 17 was tied for 4th place, who gets to go on to the next round? Well, they They decide which one hit the longer home run. Well, they both hit it 470 feet for their longest home run. Well, yeah, pull the tape measure out a little farther. Let's drill down a little more. Cal Raleigh hit it 470.6171452.141 feet. Brent Rooker hit it 470.535.17405.93 feet. They took it down to 10 decimals.
Yesterday was National Tape Measure Day, too. So,
though they really could have stopped after 1 decimal. A tenth of a foot farther. Not quite 2 inches farther for Cal Raleigh. And so he advances and then goes on to win the home run derby. Did you watch some of it?
A little bit. I mean, back and forth, but I love the comment Rooker had. He goes, I should have just been a little stronger.
Yeah,
that's down to earth, buddy, But, yeah, 17 and 17, you tie with the guy that ends up winning it with 54. Cal Raleigh, man, what a night. Goodness gracious.
That was incredible. That guy's a beast.
And then you got James
Woods. What a cool
Woods.
story. You got his dad throwing BP, former head coach at Tennessee. You got his brother catching. They are a catcher family. And you got Brent Rooker sitting over there on the side watching the whole thing, and he's got his baby there. He's got a bottle on it. And somebody went after him online like, hey, you got to feed your kid for the baby bottle on the field. Maybe we just want to watch you play baseball. He's like, yes, actually, I did need to feed my child their bedtime bottle at about 9 o'clock while I was on the field. But, thanks for your concern. People get upset about the weirdest things.
Yeah, they do. That's one of those that's weird to be upset about. I do like to stand in the front yard with the hose and yell at clouds at times just to see what the neighbors will say, but,
I believe you.
Yeah. Just
I don't think you're joking at all. I think you have a water hose in one hand, a Miller High Life in the other. You're just watering the grass and screaming at the clouds.
Yeah, and that's kind of what that's like, though. You're there to have fun, man. Leave the guy alone. He's there with his kid, having a time, and having a brother-in-law that played a little of the major league game, and the access these guys have, bringing the kids along and stuff. It changes, a lot of young people's lives to be a part of that. And I commend him for being a good dad, letting his child be a part of that. You don't know how long you get to do these things, and especially in major league sports. So I'm happy for him, man. I'm glad the kid got fed.
As the clock ticks on a December 1st deadline to determine a format for the new college football playoff 2026 and beyond, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey said the possibility that it could just stay at 12 is very real. Said he and Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti spoke 4 or 5 times last week and acknowledged that the SEC has a different view coming out of its spring meetings in Destin. Kind of went into Destin. The SEC was, at the league level, was pretty in on the idea of some guaranteed spots. And it was the coaches who persuaded the league office and got everybody moving in the right direction. Like, no. Put the champion in and then just make it most deserving for everybody else. Well, now you've got the Big Ten being kind of whiny. And Sankey says that the Big Ten has a different view. And then he said this: the ultimate negotiating tool, the willingness to walk away, the ability to say no. Sankey said, that's fine. We have a 12-team playoff, 5 conference champions. That could stay if we don't agree. It's fine. He also pointed out that the memorandum of understanding that all the conferences signed back, not too terribly long ago, gave the SEC and the Big Ten ultimately the power to determine the direction of the college football playoff going forward. Lingering question, will the SEC play 8 or 9 conference games starting in 2026? That's your sports update, brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Find them online at pearlriverresort.com. We're back with you right after this.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
You're waking up to what matters. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Morning Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. Glad to be with you. Glad to be starting the day with you as we approach the 7 o'clock hour on in God's time zone. Eastern time is the devil. So thankful for the Central Time Zone. Alongside Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. We are glad to be with you. Quick lottery update for you this morning. No jackpot winner on Powerball, but one Mississippi lottery player purchased a ticket matching 4 of the 5 white balls and the red Powerball to win $50,000. And because they purchased the $1 Power Play multiplier, their win was doubled to $100,000. The ticket was purchased in Gaucher at Ramey's. Congratulations to that. The big jackpot for tomorrow night's drawing, $264 million. The cash value, $119,700,000. That is a large number. That's outstanding.
Getting respectable, huh?
Yeah, the Mississippi Lottery has wrapped up fiscal year 2025 with a monthly transfer of over $9.2 million to the state. The total for the year, a little bit more than $113 million. A milestone year included the lottery's 5th anniversary, the launch of an enhanced Mega Millions game, Mississippi's first Match 5 millionaire, and a record-breaking $10 million Powerball double play win. Since its start, the Mississippi Lottery has transferred more than $690 million to state funds. More than $400 million going to the State Highway Fund, more than $200 million to the Education Enhancement Fund. Every lottery ticket purchased helps fund these important initiatives. So, when you play, you help the state of Mississippi, and you give yourself a chance to win as well. Great stuff from the Mississippi Lottery. We had a couple of big winners. Big money bingo.
Yeah.
Equipment woman won $75,000. See, $200,000 for a Gulfport woman.
I'm green with envy there. $75K, $200K. Moo, I could take that. I wouldn't even put it in the bank, man. I'd just go spend it.
Pretty darn. Would you? Just pump it right back into the economy.
Plow it right back in there. You got it.
Yeah. All right. So that's your lottery update brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery. Find them online at mslottery.com. So what's coming up for the next couple of hours today? We will talk about Trump's kind of rattling the cage of Russia and Vladimir Putin yesterday. I've lost track of how many times we've had the headline. Trump frustrated with Russia. Tired of waiting with Russia. Well, yesterday he made it a little more real. We'll give you the details on that coming up. And not just real with Russia, but real with Ukraine and NATO and the European Union. Everybody kind of has grown weary of old Vlad. Is the Epstein story dividing the MAGA movement? There's some things that point to the answer to that being yes. What is the Trump administration going to do about this? And what about Dan Bongino? It's weird. I know not all of you follow this, but if you follow some of the online personalities within the Republican political movement, names like Charlie Kirk and Benny Johnson and Laura Loomer and Eric Daugherty and others. I mean, there are a bunch of them out there. People that have generated significant influence. And you wonder, are these people that are true believers, that they're genuinely fighting for a cause? Are they grifters? Are they just trying to make a dollar or whatever? But there's no question these people influence the outcome of election. They absolutely did. And there's also no question that they hold a place of significance within the Trump orbit. Now, how significant? We may be about to find out. Because all of these people, these online MAGA influencer types acted as if they had been personally betrayed and were outraged and kind of lashed out at the president over what we got last week from Pam Bondi, from the administration, from Bongino and the FBI with regard to not releasing much information. And it appears as if the White House is going back and taking a look and kind of digging through this a little closer and saying, okay, what can we release? There are things that they simply cannot release, but they're digging a little deeper to make sure that they get that right. And somehow, within all of this, Dan Bongino kind of became the rally cry for this right-wing online influencer crowd, and Bondi kind of became the sacrificial lamb. Chris Brown, Northern Public Service Commissioner in Mississippi, going to join us, as will Steve Tybor. Really great story with 8 Days of Hope. He's the president and CEO there. Michael Borkey from SportsTalk Mississippi will be by. All of that in the next 2 hours with you. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Reaching across the state and across the aisle. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
She traveled all around, all across this country. Met a lot of people, met a lot of friends. She got the feeling.
Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday morning, just after 7 o'clock across the Magnolia State. Thanks for being with us. Whether you're listening online at supertalk.fm, you got us pulled up on the app, maybe you've got SuperTalk TV going, or the old tried and true radio station. Glad to have you along for the ride. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. The 7 o'clock hour is brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Running a business is tough, and if you're struggling with HR, benefits, and payroll, you are not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services plus a custom plan that fits you. Give them a call today, 601-206-7966, or go to MWGEmployerServices.com. That's MWGEmployerServices.com. We are at SEC Media Days, Sports Talk Mississippi, broadcasting live again this afternoon. Tomorrow, Mississippi State will be one of the 4 teams that is here, and so we'll have a lot of Bulldogs coverage for you, including conversations with head coach Jeff Lebby and the 3 Mississippi State players that will be here. Certainly look forward to that. Our coverage of SEC Media Days across SuperTalk Mississippi is brought to you by Pearl River Resort, pearlriverresort.com. Go there, check it out, hang out, have a blast. Also by Trustmark Bank, Cannon Ford Lincoln in Starkville, Cleveland, and Pascagoula, Covington County Hospital, Mississippi Farm Bureau, and Genteel Apparel. So, just wanted to make you aware of that and hope you will join us this afternoon on Sports Talk Mississippi. So, yesterday Donald Trump got a little more serious. He's frustrated with Vladimir Putin. He is frustrated with the Russian military, and he may have hit his tipping point. He's been building to this. He's got some members of Congress who have been pushing him in this direction, but he's been very patient, been pretty stoic with Russia. That changed yesterday when Donald Trump threatened Russia with steep tariffs and announced a rejuvenated pipeline for American weapons to reach Ukraine, hardening his stance toward Moscow after months of frustration about unsuccessful negotiations to win the war. When we talk about steep tariffs, we're not talking about tariffs directly for Russia, though those are already in place and could be an issue. Now, Donald Trump is talking about placing steep tariffs on any country that does business with the Russians, as much as 500%. Latest steps reflect an evolving approach from Trump, who promised to swiftly resolve the war. Remember, we'll get it done right away. It never would have happened, never would have started if I had been in office already. And yet it did. He wasn't, and it did. And so here we are. Trump has switched gears a little bit. For the longest time, he was He was going after Volodymyr Zelensky. Described him as unwilling to compromise. But it's Putin that has since gained the ire of the President of the United States. Man, some of these quotes. My conversations with him are very pleasant. And then the missiles go off at night. It just keeps going on and on and on. He talked yesterday about, hey, I had a great conversation with Putin. I get home and say that to the First Lady, and then she's like, oh, really? He just bombed an ice cream shop.
Yeah, been drinking the vodka late afternoon. Yeah, Trump's getting in before the nightcaps, I guess. But, yeah, Putin's off his rocker, man. It has been.
50 days. Yep, 50 days to reach a peace deal. That's what Trump has given Putin. He provided a few details on how these severe tariffs would be implemented, but he described them as secondary tariffs, meaning that they would target Russia's trading partners in an effort to isolate Moscow in the global economy. Trump said European allies, this is where it's gotten different, right? So in terms of things being connected, one thing being connected to another. Do you remember the NATO meeting a few weeks ago where we found out that NATO would be NATO nations, NATO members, with the exception of Spain, who's a little bit lower, but everybody else going to spend 5% of their GDP on defense spending. Okay, so the number has gotten much, much bigger. It's not just the United States carrying the freight for everybody, footing the tab for everybody. And so Trump saying that European allies of Ukraine were going to buy billions and billions of dollars of U.S. military equipment to be transferred to Ukraine, replenishing the besieged country's supply of weapons. And it's funny, a story that I was reading last night, and there was a Russian official that said this. And, Lance, I'm not trying to be cynical at this, but I laughed when I saw a Russian official say, the only group that wins in any of this conversation is the United States military-industrial complex.
Well, I mean, it's hard to argue with that. I mean, you've got to create weapons to sell to somebody so that they can defend themselves from an aggressor. So somebody's got to make them.
The weapons that we're going to be sending, Patriot air defense systems, top priority for Ukraine as it's trying to fend off the Russian drones and missiles. Trump said European allies going to buy all of that, and he had made the announcement in the Oval Office alongside the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, who has become a pretty good friend of Trump's. Germany, Finland, Canada, Norway, Sweden, the UK, and Denmark are all buying weapons for Ukraine. And frankly, what a relief that all of those countries who say they were standing with Ukraine are now spending on Ukraine instead of expecting the United States to spend all on that.
I think a lot of folks didn't believe that Europe would come around to Trump and what he was requesting. And it is fair. I mean, Europe, it is on their front doorstep and definitely needs to be part of the investment they make into the security of their own future. I mean, Russia has a pretty illustrious history over there in the eastern part of Europe. So, I mean, if you want to just let them run roughshod through it, they've proven what they'll do. And you have a lot of folks there that we kind of let down after World War II. Everything but east of Prague, and a lot of folks there didn't want to be under communist rule, but we didn't have the wherewithal or the desire to take it any further. And we're still fighting that battle today. At some point, you've got to put a stop to it.
Post-World War II?
Yeah. It's been going on for since the 40s.
Yeah, but I mean, you also were in a spot where you needed the war to end.
Yeah, you did, but you also gave up a significant portion of Eastern Europe to communists. And a lot of those folks did not want to be under communist rule. You've seen what that did. You had the Iron Curtain. You had to break down a wall. You had, 50 years? I mean, it's you're still dealing with a lot of these issues and a lot of the hatred that emanated from some of the things that went on in World War II and afterwards. So this has got to stop at some point because it is going to embroil more and more in. You spend more and more hard-earned money sending weapons to somebody over there to fight off an idiot that likes to ride without his shirt on a horse.
Hold on, I'm trying to recreate the alliances from World War II in my head. Russia was they were
an ally, you know. Yeah.
I was going to say Russia was fighting with the United States and Great Britain in that against Germany and Japan, and
you got the Bolsheviks,
that was kind of the deal, right? That it was the reason that we allowed them to take that part of Eastern Europe was kind of the thank you for being on the good guys team.
Yeah,
right?
and then Stalin did what he normally did, and was not above board, and did what his goal was basically imperialism. Always wanted to have more European flair for Russia, and it's always been that's what it is.
I mean, what a reminder that war makes for strange bedfellows.
It does. Mm. And again, you're playing with this stuff still to this day, still dealing with some of those issues and lines drawn in the sand and history. And history will repeat itself if you're not aware of what happened the first time to create the mess.
Yeah. 601-879-4395. That is the number for the C-Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Looking for game-changing technology? You need C-Spire on your team. 5G wireless, fiber home internet, business IT solutions, built as tough as your defense. Learn more at cspire.com. C-Spire, inspired by you. Donald in Oxford, Russia was Hitler's ally. Until he betrayed Russia.
Everybody was Hitler's ally until he betrayed.
They were and are just evil. I'm glad NATO will buy missiles from us to give to Ukraine. However, the 60-day deadline is exactly in line with how long Putin reportedly told Trump he needed to take more land over in Ukraine, according to Axios. Sometimes Axios is really, really good in reporting, and sometimes it's not. That's very much an inside D.C. Source familiar with the content of the phone conversation between Putin and Trump said Putin made it clear that he plans further escalation in the war with Ukraine. In particular, Trump told Emmanuel Macron that Putin would again attempt to occupy territory up to the administrative borders of the Ukrainian oblasts where Russia holds a significant foothold. We'll see. I think 50 days was the amount of time that Trump said he was willing to allow before these sanctions would go into place. What a mess. Mornings with Richard Cross. We're back with you after this.
From the Venable Glass Trap.
Mornings with Richard Cross. What's up?
Let's get the show going.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
So Chip and Joe have gotten into some hot water. You read about that? You know what I'm talking about?
Chip and Joe. I don't know.
Chip and Joanna Gaines,
okay.
the fixer-upper folks that, they completely redid Waco, Texas. Yeah, apparently, they redone a house for a same-sex couple, and people have gone nuts on this.
Ooh.
I mean, people are going after it. This is Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. Thanks for joining us. If you want to join the show, you can do so on the C-Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Here you go. I'm not a fan of this Hitler guy, and you can quote me on that. Don't forget, Russia helped start World War II by invading Poland. It wasn't until Hitler invaded Russia that they became the enemy of my enemy. Patton was probably right.
I would say Patton was right.
Yeah.
I'm a big Patton, researcher and fan, but he definitely was an outspoken type that did not fit in very well with the politicians. But he was right. I mean, you understood quickly that Russia had no desire to sit over in Moscow and do nothing as the war was coming to an end. Number two, if you go back and look at the history, there was no German soldier ever that wanted to surrender to the Russians. Over 80% of those that surrendered to the Russians, Germans, were ended up dead. Over 90% that surrendered to
turnabout is fair play, huh?
Yeah, well, it will be over 90% that surrendered to the United States and the Allies lived. So, I mean, that's the start of what a lot of the problems were as World War II came to an end. And I don't think we've fixed that. I don't think anything really has changed other than the way we name things and the way we want to say, oh, yeah, well, it was the Marshall Plan. All these things work. But look at where we are today. I mean, we're dealing with issues that were pretty much the same things that were going on back in the 40s. And, you know, Russia wanted Eastern Europe. Germany wanted Eastern Europe. And at the moment, you see it's a mess. Europe is a mess. It's been a mess. And it goes way back. And these things are not things that you just solve by firing rockets at each other, because it's never solved it.
Yeah. We get a message that says, go woke, go broke. Yeah. We've Brian Haydad's here. He rolled his eyes off to the side. When we get to woke ideology, we have.
Is that Haydad's specialty?
Yeah. That is not. Lance asks if that's your specialty. Woke ideology.
Dissecting woke ideology.
He said super woke ideology.
Oh, yeah. You got to go super.
Huh? Ultra woke, not super woke.
Okay.
Ultra woke is his specialty. I don't know if we want to go down that road today or not. I remember when Patton said that that got him killed. Yeah.
He said a lot, and he was pretty open about his
Thomas
mindset.
And Greenwood. So how about this, Lance? I mean, Thomas is full in on the Epstein foreign agent belief, conspiracy, whatever. And he says it's not a mess. I said a second ago that we had a mess with Russia and Ukraine and all of the intertwined tentacles. He said it's not a mess, it's diversion, because MAGA won't back down on the Epstein leak or the Epstein lie. We'll go to war with Russia if that's what it takes to keep Bibi or Bibi happy.
There's a lot of layers to this thing. I mean,
there are layers upon layers. He says, don't you remember Trump promised to leak it? Yeah, I remember Trump promised to leak it. Of course I do.
Well,
of course I do.
Later, we're going to have, this was only the first, Bondi said. There will be many, many dumps of the Epstein files and information moving forward. And we'll see if that actually happens. But as I stated the other day, I don't know if dumping a bunch of names without what was done and specifics and, you know, are you putting yourself in a very difficult position to defend that if you don't have evidence to support any of the claims? I mean, it's.
I'm not sure there's a lack of evidence.
I'm not saying
I'm not sure that you can make the evidence public.
Well, I mean, yeah, that, and two, will it uphold in a court of law? I mean, if we're talking about slandering and libel somebody, even if they did it, but you still have to prove it. If you go look at the laws, I mean, slander, libel, all these things, they're hard to prove. Just like proving treason in this country is very difficult. So, I mean, I understand there may be a lot of information, but can you do anything with it at this point? And that's what I would be more interested in. I don't care about a dump of names and public outcry. Let's either put people in jail because they broke the law, and if you cannot prove that, I'm not saying move on, but you need to find a case. I mean, isn't that what this is about? Are we just going to throw people to the wolves and say, well, yeah, his name was on a list?
And prosecutors don't just do an evidence dump into the public domain.
You can't.
For everybody else to decide. That's not how you win.
So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at.
In court.
And again, I hope that if anyone that did and has transgressions and law breaking and all this nastiness that has happened within the Epstein deal, same with P. Diddy. I mean, they're having a hard time with P. Diddy. I mean, give me a break. How much information was out there about what was going on? There was public videos everywhere.
It was a bad job done by the prosecutor that was Jim Comey's daughter, right?
And we're going to trust that again? I mean, I guess that's what I'm saying. I mean, wouldn't you like to know for somewhat of a fact that you could prosecute these individuals? Because, I mean, this Diddy thing's been a mess. Man, he may go to jail for transporting hookers or something, but not for what they were going after. And I think that you're dealing with something similar to this where, yeah, there could be a lot of things at the lower levels that they get folks on, but are they really going to get them on what they want? And again, I don't know the answer to that.
With Richard Cross. Today is July 15th, the day in which Lance tied P. Diddy to Jeffrey Epstein.
I mean, isn't that what we're talking about?
Benny Johnson said this yesterday on X. Just got off the phone with top federal law enforcement contact. The change in approach to Epstein has been dramatic. Expect more disclosure. Some very powerful people inside the administration are now pushing for a special counsel and a full press briefing on Epstein findings. Important to note, the drastic change happened after Charlie Kirk and a number of other powerful MAGA voices pushed back on the handling of the Epstein case this weekend at the Turning Point Conference. They were met with massive roars and applause from the 7,000 gathered that could not be ignored. In short, our voices are being heard. Power to the people. That's what Benny Johnson said yesterday. Maybe? You know, the Dan Bongino piece of this is interesting. Dan Bongino is a bit of a cult hero. He's the deputy director of the FBI, was appointed by President Trump, brought in to work alongside Kash Patel. It is interesting to me that these people who have been very outspoken publicly when they did not work for the FBI or the CIA or other government entities, turns out it's easier to talk about things when you don't have national security clearance and you don't have access to all the information. Benny Johnson said this because the rumor last week was that Dan Bongino was going to leave his post as deputy director of the FBI because he was frustrated with the way Pam Bondi was running the Department of Justice. We know that the FBI and the DOJ have to work very, very closely together. Benny Johnson said, I just confirmed that Dan Bongino was in his FBI office at work today and is working on something, quote-unquote, very important. Dan was in a positive mood after further internal movement toward Epstein disclosures and transparency. Team Trump is, quote, back together and locking in, close quote. Hey. So do you believe that's what's going on, or do you believe what Thomas said, that it's all a diversion and they're trying to take pressure off of the Epstein movement, if you will, and they're willing to do that by tightening the clamps on Russia? And then there also have been some reports that there is a significant deep state investigation that is in the works. Like, you can't make you couldn't make all of this stuff up in a fiction novel and tie it all together and make it make sense. And yet, this is what we're doing, and it's where we are right now. One more thing that I was thinking about in all of this. You know, whether you're mad at Pam Bondi or Dan Bongino or Kash Patel, are we to believe that that these people are acting independently, that they are the ones making decisions about what gets released and what doesn't get released? Or is the cabinet that has very much been in lockstep with the president taking its marching orders from the president of the United States? And I think that's the answer, isn't it? Donald Trump is the puppet master in all of this. He is the one that is making the decisions on what gets released, where the priorities are placed, and all of these things. There are a lot of layers here. And really only time's going to tell in terms of what we see next, what we get next. Chris Brown will join us next. Oh, he was with us last week, but we're going to get an update from the Public Service Commission in the Northern District. What does he think about some of President Trump's latest actions on solar and wind subsidies? What impact could that have? We're back with Chris Brown after this on Mornings with Richard Cross.
From the Seabrook Paint.
Segment of Mornings with Richard Cross is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Grab another cup of coffee and start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross here on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Sunshine when she's gone.
Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. Thanks for joining us. You want to be part of the conversation? You can do so on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Are you ready for your winning strategy? Here it is. Join C Spire. All the technology and supports you need to succeed at home, at work, and everywhere else. Visit cspire.com today C-Spire, inspired by you. Public Service Commissioner for the Northern District, Chris Brown, joins us now. We talked with Chris just a week or so ago, kind enough to join us again today. Stuff that's in the news, Chris, that certainly is relevant in the state of Mississippi. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Richard. How are you?
Doing well. I appreciate your time once again. And, we talked a lot a week or so ago about some of the stuff going on in Holly Springs and with the Holly Springs public utility situation. I wanted to ask you, and we'll move on from this in just a second, but heard some rumblings that there are people within the local Holly Springs government that are making it sound like there's some sort of an agreement that has been reached between the city of Holly Springs, the mayor's office, the Public Service Commission, in terms of kind of dropping this case and moving on. Can you tell us if there's any truth to that?
No, there's no truth to that. I think the legislature was pretty clear on the path that we needed to take regarding Holly Springs Utility District. And I personally met with the mayor and an alderman, and it never came up that we were trying to negotiate any deal other than finding a solution to the crisis to provide reasonably adequate service to the people of that utility district. So there's no truth to the rumors that we're trying to strike a deal.
And you told us last week, if I remember correctly, that the new mayor has been more receptive and has tried to work with the Public Service Commission and also with the outside entity, right, that is trying to kind of come up with a solution. Is that accurate?
That's correct. Yeah, the third-party group that is doing the evaluation of the operations side, this administration has helped facilitate their work, which is going to help us get to the hearings faster. So, and it behooves the city, utility district, Public Service Commission, TVA, and everybody involved to understand exactly what's going on, and that's what Silver Point is endeavoring to do, is to try to make sure that we understand all the ins and outs of where we are today in that system, and that way we can figure out how to go forward.
And ultimately, we know that the solution is going to be expensive, that there's a lot of work that's got to be done, that the clearing on the right-of-ways and the lines with vegetation, all of that has to happen. But again, to your point, you've got to get all of the information and have kind of a comprehensive study and comprehensive understanding of just how bad it is so that the right solution can be put into place.
That's correct. And, it is going to be all hands on deck. That system has been neglected for decades, and it didn't get here in this state overnight, and unfortunately it's going to take time to get out of this mess. But the important part of our work, what we're doing, is to finally identify the issue and then move to resolution and fixing it so the people of that district can move into what most of us enjoy, which is reliable service. When you turn on a light switch, the light comes on a bright sunshiny day, the power doesn't go out. Those kind of scenarios that have really restricted economic development in that area. It's restricted the quality of life in that area. And so, as we continue to dig in, it's important that we don't forget our neighbors in that utility district, which is not just the city of Holly Springs, but it encompasses 3 different counties and even goes up into the state of Tennessee.
Yeah, visiting with Chris Brown, Northern District Public Service Commissioner. You and your colleagues within the Public Service Commission at times have to have a narrow view, right? Because your responsibility is to your district, and then the larger responsibility is to the people of the state of Mississippi, and it's about public utilities and power generation and supplying internet and all of those things that fall under the umbrella of public service. I'm curious, though, when you take a wider range view, when it's more macro than it is micro, the recent Big Beautiful Bill, the sunsetting on some of the subsidies related to energy production, whether it's solar or wind, what does that mean in Mississippi? Because if you're traveling in North Mississippi in your district, you have seen Yeah, you've got these solar farms, places that have been farmland in the past that now have got, solar panels stretching for as far as the eye can see. What does that mean for Mississippi, especially in the Northern District going forward?
Most of those solar fields are private landowners contracting with private developers to deliver a power purchase agreement to a private company. They do have to come through us to get approval to make sure they're kind of dotting their I's and crossing their T's and everything's good with the Department of Environmental Quality and all the other Department of Health, make sure they're not endangering public health. But the problem, the good thing about the Big Beautiful Bill is that it seeks to do away with those the subsidies, which kind of government was putting its foot on the scale in favor of wind and solar. Well, wind and solar are not dispatchable. They're intermittent at best. So the sun doesn't shine all the time. So if the sun's not shining, you're not generating electricity through solar panels. So we know it's intermittent. So what the president and his executive order did was it said that we're not going to fund or put our foot on the scale and give subsidies to this energy over this energy. So they leveled the playing field to where now the best energy source is what can be chosen by energy companies and by individuals to say, okay, I want affordable, reliable energy. How do I get it? Instead of in the past, the federal government was picking winners and losers and putting its foot heavy in favor of solar panels and wind turbines.
We've heard people say that the best energy policy is an all-of-the-above policy, right? It's traditional power generation, it's coal, it's nuclear, it is solar, it is wind, and kind of all of these things working together. Is there enough efficiency within the solar and wind sectors of energy production to make them viable?
I agree with you that I personally look at all the above approach. I'm not anti any energy production per se, but we do look at things as human flourishing. How do we get more money in your pocket? How do we increase the quality of life for the people of Mississippi? So with that kind of lens, you start looking at it in a way that how are the lights going to always be on when you turn the light switch on? Unlike wind and solar, America needs energy sources that are always on. Nuclear is the future. So I think long term, nuclear is 90% on. So as that generation of power, it's 90% operational. In comparison, solar is under 30%. So
really,
again,
it's that low?
Yes. So and then wind is in under 40, and then natural gas is above 50. So natural gas is abundant. It's American. It's clean. So I think that the future is going to be the bulk of the power in the future of this country and the world is going to be produced by nuclear. Second, natural gas. I think coal will still be in the mix. And then renewables will play their role as well, but it'll be 4, 5, 6%.
Chris, every time I drive past one of those solar farms, I have this thought that enters my head, and it's like, are we one hailstorm in this particular area from that solar field being rendered unusable? I mean, is that a legitimate concern that a weather event could create damage that could wipe out an entire solar field just in the blink of an eye?
We saw it in Texas. So that's exactly true. We do have hailstorms and unfortunately tornadoes that could take out huge swaths of these power generators, photovoltaic solar fields. So that is a concern, and the longevity of the panels and everything else. So again, with all the above approach, if somebody wants to install solar panels on their home, they're more than welcome to. We're not restricting anything there. All that we're saying is don't don't use subsidies to make this technology, to make that particular technology proliferate and spread across the country. And I think that is what's causing or allowing all the solar fields to go up is that federal subsidy. We actually
Chris
had a
Brown
state subsidy as well. When we
Chris, hold that thought if you don't mind. We're up against a break. I got a couple more questions for you. I want you to finish that thought as well. Northern Public Service Commissioner, Northern District in Mississippi, Chris Brown is my guest. We're back with you on MRC right after this.
From the Venable Glass Traffic
Mississippi. Dive into the news and debates driving the day. All on your ride to work. Mornings with Richard Cross. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Back with you on Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, coming to you from Atlanta this morning. SEC Media Days rolls on. SportsTalk Mississippi will be live this afternoon from 3 to 6 with full coverage of the day's activity. We continue our conversation, though, with Chris Brown, Northern District Public Service Commissioner in the SEC. Sorry to interrupt you before the break. We were talking about, the reliability and the efficiency of solar panels, and ultimately what you were talking about is the government not playing favorites and putting its foot or finger on the scale of a particular energy production source.
That's correct. The executive order levels the playing field, so it eliminates unfair regulatory favoritism. It gives wind and solar an artificial edge over the traditional, more proven energy sources. Ensures all energy producers play by the same rules. So it's not endeavors is not to pick winners and losers. So the Big Beautiful Bill did kind of 5 big things. It ended wasteful subsidies, prioritizes infrastructure that actually works. So roads, pipelines, transmission for reliable energy like natural gas, nuclear, and it protects American jobs by not putting its foot on the scale of wind and solar, which primarily is sourced from overseas. It reduces long-term government distortion of the energy market, and it includes strict accountability to the funds that have been distributed up until now. Oh, and we actually had a Mississippi subsidy when we first took office a year and a half ago. There was a Mississippi subsidy that basically made you pay for your neighbor's solar. We ended that within the first 2 months of this commission's tenure.
Chris, what about the wind piece of it? I mean, if you travel in Texas, in the Midwest, you see a lot of the wind farms, and there are these massive, massive windmills that frankly, people have talked about these being like visual pollution, and they don't last forever. And when you take them apart, you basically have to bury the big turbines and just make them go away. I have not seen much in the way of wind farms in Mississippi. Do we have any of those in the northern part of the state?
We do. We have a few in the Delta. The wind just doesn't blow that much in Mississippi. A commissioner friend of mine from Oklahoma, they have a lot of wind, and so they are starting to talk about how green is green energy. And so with the turbines, with the oil needed to lubricate the turbines of the fans themselves, with the energy needed to transport all this stuff around the country, around the world, and these fan blades, to lack of a better word, these windmill blades,
sure,
they do break quite frequently, and they are piling up. So what do you do with those? So it's becoming a greater problem in Oklahoma and Texas, and they're trying to learn what to do, trying to figure out what to do with all this waste now.
You know, there was a little bit of a political statement, that Netflix series Landman, where Billy Bob Thornton was a landman, and he explained to the lawyer that came in from, I guess it was from New York or somewhere, what all went into.
What a great statement, right?
I mean, it really was. It really was a pretty good explanation of what those actually do. Hey, only a couple of minutes left. We've talked specifically about Holly Springs. We've talked about this, power production and the subsidies in place. What else is on the docket right now for the Public Service Commission that people need to know about, that you and your colleagues in the commission are focused on?
You know, the biggest thing we can do is create a regulatory environment that allows for economic development and job growth and more money in your pocket. The more money you have in your pocket, the more you can go out and buy goods for your family and have a better standard of living. So we look at everything through the lens of affordable and reliable. And that's our goal, and that's our commitment to the people of Mississippi, is to make sure that we are on the cutting edge moving into the future to not only attract new jobs, which Mississippi's on a roll. Mississippi Momentum, the governor called it. So we are moving fast, and people around the world are starting to look at Mississippi because companies like AWS and others are locating here because we have reliable, affordable power.
Well, and I was going to ask you that. How closely is the PSC working in conjunction with the governor's office and the other folks in this economic development world in terms of recruiting businesses to Mississippi?
Well, you know, the public service commissioners, we control the economy in one way. If you make bad energy choices to where energy goes up and reliability goes down, then your economy is going to stop. And so we are endeavoring, the three of us, to make sure that we work hand in glove with the governor's office, the legislature, and to make sure that Mississippi is moving forward and we don't stumble like, you know, countries like Germany. You know, they were bragging that 50% of their energy was produced by renewables, but they had the second highest energy costs in the world, and they started they're losing their industrial base. So Mercedes is in Alabama.
Yeah. There's the example that you need. Chris Brown, Northern District Public Service Commissioner. Thanks so much for your time this morning. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Richard. Talk good.
MRC 8 o'clock hour coming up next after the news.
From Duck Hill to Alligator, Mississippians start their day the right way. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Once again, good morning to you. This is Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. Today is Tuesday, July 15th, middle of the month of July, in the heart of the summer. We're coming to you live from SEC Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia. SportsTalk Mississippi will have full coverage of everything that's happening today. Mississippi State will be here tomorrow. Ole Miss was here yesterday. So Mornings with Richard Cross broadcasting live from Atlanta as well. Excited to welcome our next guest this morning. Steve Tybor is president and CEO of 8 Days of Hope, an organization that is based in Tupelo, Mississippi, with satellite offices across the country. They are a disaster relief organization, but they are doing it in the name of spreading the gospel and doing so through many of their work. Steve, good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining me.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
There's so many different directions I'd love to go. I have accused myself, and maybe have been accused by others, of oversimplifying the gospel at times. But when it boils down to it, when you look at Jesus' teaching, love God and love others. And it feels like one of the ways that you have focused, and 8 Days of Hope has focused on loving others, is being there in times of disaster. Tell me a little bit about 8 Days of Hope, how it started, and what you're doing when people are at their most vulnerable and at their biggest time of need.
You know, Richard, I was living in Tupelo, Mississippi in 1999. I moved down there from New York. And about 6 years later, a storm hit our country. You probably remember it was called Katrina. Mm-hmm. And my dad, who was living in Buffalo at the time, we got on the phone and we agreed that we both would find a couple buddies, and we would look for either a widow, an elderly couple, maybe a single mom. But let's find one family on the coast of Mississippi, and let's help them rebuild their house. We thought that was the right thing to do. And, you know, I don't know about you, but a lot of times I love to plan. But you think you have a plan, and then God reminds you who's truly in control. It's not us. But that was our smallest outreach ever. It was supposed to be 6 of us. We took 684 people. We went to Bay St. Louis and Waverly, Mississippi, and in 8 days, hence the name 8 Days of Hope, we rebuilt 84 homes. And when I saw what God was doing, I mean, homeowners that we were serving were saying yes to Jesus for the first time. Volunteers on a mission trip realized they didn't know who our Creator was, and they said yes as well. And, it wasn't just the fact that you saw all these homes being rebuilt, but the lives that were being touched, just not the families, again, that we were serving, but the volunteers themselves. So in the spring of 2006, we founded 8 Days of Hope. It became official, a nonprofit. We've been doing this for 20 years. We now have helped 11,500 families from California to New York to Texas to Mississippi, Florida, everywhere. We've helped them rebuild their homes always in just 8 days. About $94 million of work for free. 60,000 volunteers have traveled with us. We have a very, very small staff. We train volunteer leaders. Like right now, we're in Texas. I know we'll get to that in a minute. We have, millions of dollars of equipment down there and experienced operators, but not one staff member. So, our goal is, 8 Days of Hope is simply, we want to equip the saints. We want to be a conduit for the saints who are looking for a way to give back. So we go right after a disaster, like we're in Texas right now. We come back a year later and build homes. Again, 11,500 of them. We have a mass feeding arm that we are announcing later today. We'll be going to Texas because a lot of the feeding teams have left. We want to feed the responders that are still there. And then we also build safe places for women and children rescued from sex trafficking. We've done 15 of those. We've worked with Tim Tebow, a big name in the SEC world, in Chattanooga. We worked with Frank Reich, an NFL coach in Indianapolis. But we've built those facilities, again, from Texas to South Dakota, New York, Mississippi, and everywhere in between. So, we just want to be a conduit for people who want to give back, and that's what we've done for 20 years.
Steve, I think about the disaster recovery industry, and I'm using that term loosely. You've got organizations like Samaritan's Purse, who were so vital in North Carolina following the flooding and the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. You've got other groups. The Cajun Navy has certainly become famous for going in quickly. How do you work in conjunction or independently of other groups? Because there are entities that are there to help, and then you've got federal government aid, FEMA stuff that's coming in. How do you do that from an organizational standpoint?
Yeah, I learned very quickly. It was maybe after our fourth outreach that I started feeling pretty good about who we were and what we were doing, and I had to repent. I had to go to the volunteer leaders and the board at the time and said, I'm starting to feel like this is all about 8 Days of Hope, and it's not. It's about Jesus. And so, it was our fifth year in, and I kind of reset my mindset. A line I use all the time is we're better together. And so we're in constant contact with Convoy of Hope and Samaritan's Purse and Minutemen and other Christian organizations. So we're not like set up one block apart. We sit at round tables with them. We share best practices. Their model's a little bit different. Again, I'm a big Samaritan's Purse fan. Their model, they'll go in like Asheville. They'll be there for multiple years and do 2 or 3 homes every single week. Our model, and again, no model's better than the other. Both models are needed. Our biggest outreach ever was Houston after Harvey. Richard, we brought 4,692 people, and we did a baseball doubleheader. We did 2 8-day trips, and in 16 days, we rebuilt 808 homes with 4,600 volunteers. Now, that's our model, and so we're all needed. So if you're feeding people, or if you're building their home, or if they're mucking out a house, or maybe just going through their belongings, or like right now in Texas, we're searching, we're looking. We're working with fire departments down there, and we're moving debris off the bank so they can use the cadaver dogs and other means to see if they can find some of the lost loved ones. So we're all needed, and we're better together when we communicate, and we love those other organizations. They're amazing.
I got to be honest with you. I'm having trouble with the math here. We recently did a home renovation project, and it wasn't 8 days. It was like 8 months for a job that didn't feel like it was that big. How do you pull that off?
Well, first of all, it's with a lot of prayer, and I mean that. People are like, oh, that's a standard answer. I'm telling you, we start the day, we start every meeting, we end every meeting, we end the day in prayer. And, think about in Houston, In 16 days, we laid out, bought, shipped, paid for, and installed 239 sets of kitchen cabinets. Now, my background is building materials, so that's what I know. But I'm not good with my hands, so I'm a less skilled volunteer when we're talking about building things. But it's from pulling the permits. I mean, it takes 90 days to plan a rebuilding trip. And for 90 days, we have to find lodging. We feed our volunteers. It's free. We've done, almost, 94, 95. I mean, the numbers change every day. We're getting closer to that $100 million mark. You got to raise the money. You got to get the permits. You got to have the
and I was going to ask you that. Forgive me for interrupting, because I've got to ask this question.
No,
you say it's free, but there's nothing that's free. Somebody's paying for this. From where is the money coming?
Yeah, so when you go to our website, 8dayshope.com, we have 20 partners that are listed on our website. They give us a donation every year, and they cover our fixed cost. Okay. The money we have to raise is for the food that we're taking to Texas tomorrow. It's for the fuel and the other things. It's for the building materials when we build places. And that's given by churches and individuals and foundations. We don't take any government money. Nothing against those that do, but we don't. And we've seen God move mightily. I tell you, we've paid every bill in the ministry always within 7 days for 20 years. We have no debt. We have about $6.5 million of equipment. We have a training center that we built in Tupelo, Mississippi, 60,000 square feet. I'm sitting today in a 100,000 square foot building in Buffalo, New York. It's our Northeast satellite that was given to us. We have a satellite in Iowa. So this is just God moving. I'm not that smart. 6 years of college, 4 years school, but I love Jesus and I love serving people. And we have 60,000 volunteers that are like-minded as well.
Well, God bless you and your entire team for the work that you're doing. So we've got a minute and a half left. Give me the high-level view of exactly what it looks like in Kerrville, Texas, and the surrounding areas right now in terms of 8 Days of Hope and your operation.
Sure. 20 years, we've never had to wait so long to get into a disaster than this one because of the search. And that's what's made this so challenging for us waiting to go in. We've been there. This is day number 4. We plan to be there as long as need be. Again, we have a couple $1 million of equipment, maybe about $1.5 million of equipment, 12 heavy bulldozers and bucket trucks and bobcats. We're moving debris along the banks so the fire department can look for lost loved ones. We'll be there until they're done. Today, we haven't announced it. We will later today through a press release. We're sending our feeding team. They'll start feeding the rapid response people like us who don't have access to food, and they'll be there, again, for as long as we're needed as well. So, we covet people's prayers. If they want to learn more about us, they can go to our website. If they want to be included the next time we go anywhere, they can sign up for our text alerts. They just send the word HOPE to 86373. Just type 86373, text the word HOPE. If they want to donate, they can do that online as well. Every dollar given will be spent in Texas because we have amazing partners.
In a world where there is plenty of bad, this is a good reminder that there is also some really, really good that is happening. Steve Tybor, President and CEO of 8 Days of Hope, the website, 8daysofhope.com. Spell it all out. Steve, thanks so much for your time this morning.
God bless you, friend. Have a great day.
You as well. We're back with Mornings with Richard Cross after this.
From the Venable Glass Trap,
Mississippi, you're starting your day off right. Welcome to Mornings with Richard Cross here on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
I woke up the next morning.
Here, we'll just slide. Houston had to take a coffee break, so we'll adjust the camera by moving ourselves into the camera shot. Good morning to you. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. Thanks for joining us as we broadcast live from SEC Media Days. Trying to give you a little bit of an update each day. Michael Borkey joins me, co-host on SportsTalk, Mississippi. Yesterday, Ole Miss was here. Lane Kiffin had time at the podium. I'm guessing that your mic is not on either.
Lance, can you hear me?
No, it's not. It's not. Houston's going to get the mic on first, and then we'll adjust the camera as well. There we go. See, when Houston...
Check. I'm on now. There we go.
When Houston disappears for like 30 seconds, the world falls apart. So
it's a truly terrible thing. Also, I'm glad we don't have to
recognize his value.
Did you see the Keegan Bradley interview from the Open? It was on Sky Sports. It's going viral because of the nature of it. They're sitting on one of those brick walls that they have there.
Yeah.
And there's two reporters on either side of them, and their legs, knee to rump, are touching on both sides of Keegan. He's sitting there. You can tell he's so uncomfortable, and they both have microphones in his face interviewing him.
It's going back and forth,
It's wild, and we almost had to do that, as close as we were going to get. But, yeah, Ole Miss made their rounds yesterday. If you were looking to learn something about Lane Kiffin's football team from Lane Kiffin, you were sorely disappointed, which is fine. I mean, you think that any coach is going to reveal inside information about his football team here? Probably not.
I asked him yesterday. I said, "Hey, what's something?" And I know you're going to continue to learn about your team, but what's something that you have seen or that you know already that Ole Miss fans don't know that they might be excited to hear? And he goes, "I don't know the answer to that." And he's like, "I guess you kind of probably want an answer from the head coach." I'm like, "Yeah, it's why we asked the question, but hey, whatever."
Aside from he took a little shot at Hugh Freeze, which is funny because, Hugh Freeze plays too much golf for being a coach with a losing record and all that. But aside from that, his time at the podium talking about loss, like life changes, he's lost both of his parents now, quite recently, and his kids moving to town, his one daughter going to school at Ole Miss, his son now starting to play football at Oxford High School, and you don't get humanizing moments from these guys very often, right? It's all very structured, political. They've got blazers on, and it's, we're working hard and recruiting hard and all that stuff. You just get a lot of coach speak. That's what this event is kind of for. And every coach always says, I've got the best fan base, all that stuff. But when he talks about the people that are around us right now have helped us get through these tragic life events, it's genuine, and you don't get humanizing, relatable, guard down Lane Kiffin ever. And you got that yesterday.
Yeah, and he seems to have been a little more willing to go down that road as of late. I don't know if it's perspective change or whatever, but he talked specifically, and we may play the audio for you before we wrap up yesterday. He talked about kind of the phases that he has gone through in Oxford. He said, I took this job, I expected it to be this. It's like, this is what it's going to be, and that's fine. He said, and then my perspective changed a little bit when my kids got here. A daughter and now his son Knox coming in and going to high school and college at Oxford and Ole Miss respectively. And then the way that the community kind of wrapped its arms around the Kiffin family, first in the loss of his dad, which was kind of expected because of his health, and then in the loss of his mother, which was unexpected. And just the way the community is kind of loved on, and he has talked a lot about the people of Oxford. Now, if you're trying to equate that to what does that mean from a football standpoint,
don't bother.
Your hope is that it means, hey, he loves this place enough that he's not going to leave.
Oh yeah,
we'll see. There is there are two schools of thought here. Ole Miss's schedule this year is, as college football schedules go, pretty manageable.
In this conference, absolutely, yeah. And ask Mississippi State fans if they would trade for Ole Miss's schedule. I think they would.
I don't think there's any question. And that's kind of a luck of the draw thing in this 2-year cycle for where the scheduling model is right now. But the other piece of it is Ole Miss has a lot of new faces this year in terms of starter, and no more glaring than at the quarterback position after what Jackson Dart gave you the last couple of years.
No doubt. And so, I mean, he's going to get thrown into the fire week 2. Now, we tried to get him yesterday to talk beyond Georgia State, and he was, nope, Georgia State, first game. And remember, they beat Vanderbilt last year, did Georgia State. So maybe they'll have their attention. But Austin Simmons' second career start is going to be at Lexington, at Kentucky, a team that beat them a year ago. You've been there. It's a sneaky, really good environment.
It is.
I mean, it's a tough place to play.
That's going to be a night game, too, in Lexington, right?
I think 2:30.
2:30. That's right.
But still, so not morning kickoff anyway, and he's going to get thrown into the fire right away. I still, after not only talking to him one-on-one, but watching all the other stuff that he did yesterday, he's quite impressive. And does that mean he's going to be a great quarterback? No, it doesn't. But he has the talent. Like, the physical ability is absolutely there in spades. I've had somebody tell me that the talent ceiling at the quarterback position is higher this year than it was last year. Floor, not as high, but the ceiling, what it could be, is higher talent-wise than it was a year ago. He's just got to put it all together. But when you're talking about, like, intellect, the intangible stuff that a quarterback needs to be great, he's got all that. And so now can he just take all that and then take the football side, put it together, and become a great quarterback? We'll see, but he's got all of the pieces that you need to put the puzzle together.
Mississippi State will be here tomorrow, so we'll spend a lot of time tomorrow with Brian Haydad and on Sports Talk Mississippi focusing on the Bulldogs. Today, day 2 of SEC Media Days, Auburn and Georgia in the morning session, Tennessee and Texas in the afternoon session. Auburn, new quarterback, transfer. Georgia, new quarterback from within the program. Tennessee, new quarterback, Nico Iamaleava left. Texas, new quarterback, his last name is Manning.
Yeah, he's going to be kind of a star around here too, you think?
I tend to think that, yes.
I saw somebody earlier trying to get position, like to get ready for when he hits that table down there next to the stage to make sure that they're in front.
Yeah.
People are going to have Manning fever. And, Richard, I'm wrestling with what people should truly actually expect from him this season, because you've got the fever pitch around here. He's going to get first-team preseason All-SEC votes. I think he might end up being the first-team All-SEC quarterback. He started 2 games. One of them was ULM, and the other, no offense, was Mississippi State with that defense.
Sure.
And so what should the actual realistic expectation be for Arch Manning? Because if they go to Ohio State and lose and he throws 2 picks, he's going to get a label. He's a bust. He's not good as Eli and Peyton, and we overhyped him. 1 game at Ohio State, if he loses, he will get a label. And that's not fair.
Most people, and I think when the preseason predictions come out, are going to have some combination of Georgia, Texas, Alabama as the top 3 in the SEC.
And throw LSU in there for some as well.
Well, I mean, I intentionally held them out. It's an LSU team that seems to be built for 1 season. With the number of guys that they brought in through the transfer portal. Yeah. I think 18 of them, they leaned into that far more this past offseason than they did in years past under Brian Kelly. What's the chance in your mind that ultimately the winner of the SEC is a team not named Texas, Georgia, or Alabama?
I would like the odds on that. I'd put money on those odds, too.
Yeah. And who would be in the mix for that? I mean, LSU, I suppose.
would be. I don't love this thought, but I could see a path where South Carolina could compete. When you're as good and talented,
Texas A&M was in the mix with Texas 2 weeks remaining in the season a year ago.
And who knows, man? What if Austin Simmons is ready right away? With the schedule that they've got, who knows? I think because of what you mentioned with the newness at quarterback, there's going to be a lot of volatility. I don't think Georgia can afford to just be average at that position anymore.
Yeah.
They don't have that you can't stockpile the talent like they used to. And they're still going to be very good and very talented and all that. But what if Gunnar Stockton's not ready? Yeah. What if he's not good enough? They're not winning the SEC if that's the case.
If you
it's deep.
If you missed any of the coverage yesterday from Sports Talk Mississippi, it is available to you online in spades. You can go back and you can listen to the podcast of Sports Talk Mississippi at your convenience on demand. There are a lot of clips from yesterday that are available on X at Sports Talk MISS, on demand, online. So as we roll into day 2 of Media Days, what's coming up this afternoon on Sports Talk Mississippi?
So the conversation I'm looking forward to the most is with Rich Clark, the executive director of the College Football Hall of Fame, because he's in the room while all the fighting is going on. And what's funny about his role is he's the director of it, but he doesn't make the decision. He's like the moderator.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask him, it's going to be funny, just, how are you? Are you okay? How's it
like
been for
the
you
hand
lately?
On the tiller, but he's taking directions on where to steer.
So much fighting and so much public, no, this format's right, they need to change their schedule, all that stuff. What's it like actually in the room when these conversations are going on? I can't wait to hear from him.
Continued conversation yesterday about the 16-team playoff, and I thought one of the things that Greg Sankey said was it wasn't a threat by any stretch of the imagination, but if you're in a negotiation, like the greatest tool is the ability to say no and to walk away. And he's like, look, if the Big Ten isn't on board with 5 plus 11, we're fine. We've got 5 plus 7 right now. We can just stay with that. Feel like a kind of a power play.
No doubt.
Michael Borkey from SportsTalk, Mississippi. More MRC with you right after this.
From the Seabrook. Want to know what's being said in the halls of the Capitol? You're in the right place. Mornings with Richard Cross continues on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
C-Spire text line popping with some of your messages, 601-879-4395. Again, 601-879-4395. That's the best way for you to be part of the conversation. You've got a question, don't hesitate to ask. Michelle in Oxford, are they a 501c3? We would love to give. Asking about 8 Days of Hope. The answer to that question, Michelle, yes, they are a 501c3. And if you feel compelled to give to the work that they're doing, their website is 8daysofhope.com, all spelled out. And just read a little bit about them. If you've got questions, reach out. I got to be honest, that was a really enjoyable conversation with Steve Tybor, who is president and CEO of 8 Days of Hope. They're based in Tupelo with satellite offices in Buffalo, New York, and one in Iowa as well, kind of strategically spread across the country. Thanks, Michelle, for that question. Nathan says a great interview and informative as well. Our conversation with Steve Tybor, outstanding. Nathan, thank you for that. CC in Senatobia, I think this was in response to Arch Manning conversation with Michael Borkey a second ago. He says, hey, even Peyton, when he was at the top of his game at Tennessee, lost to Florida. Arch will be fine. Yes. But it wasn't in the season opener, and I think that was the point that Borkey was making. You get that Ohio State-Texas game right out of the chute, and all the eyeballs are going to be on that. Is that week 1 or week 2? Ohio State-Texas. That's week 1, right? Yeah, that is week 1 in Columbus. George in Greenwood gave me his thoughts on the gospel and what the message is, and he says that love God and love others describes the kingdom of heaven, but omits the gospel. It may describe the kingdom of heaven. I don't know that it omits the gospel, but Jesus in his teaching made it clear that the 2 greatest commands were to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. Hence my reference about loving God and loving others. It was more of a direction on how our lives should be lived than, and again, I admitted when I said that earlier that is a gross oversimplification because there is so much more in the teaching of Jesus. But in terms of a roadmap for how to live our lives, if you love God and you love others, then most of, like genuinely, not on a surface level, not a superficial love of God and others, but if genuinely that directs the way you live your life, then most of the other stuff kind of falls into place. I do appreciate the message, though, on the C-Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Somebody says, what about doing a radiothon with 8 Days of Hope like you do with Palmer Home? Look, we want to tell you about the mission of other charitable organizations, and we want to bring that information to you, and if you feel compelled to give, then wonderful. That is you. But I say the leadership of our company, but we as a company made a very strategic decision about a decade and a half ago that is opposed to a scattershot approach to charitable giving, that we wanted to be singularly focused. And we decided that we were going to partner with Palmer Home for Children, based right here in the state of Mississippi, for the good work that they were doing, and that was going to be kind of the charity of choice for our efforts. That is not to diminish the work that is going on with any other organization. There's so many groups that are doing so much good, But sometimes if you're like, well, a little here and a little there and a little there, it kind of diminishes the amount of good you're able to do. And sometimes if you're asking others to be involved with it, it turns into, oh, yeah, they're just asking for money again. And that's not what we want to do. We dedicate one day in the calendar to focus specifically on Palmer Home, and we're going to continue to do that as well. But again, that's just answering your question, why not a radiothon for them as well. Very strategic and very specific in our focus with regard to the charity that we support. We're not trying to we want to make you aware, and we want to create opportunities for you to give, but we're certainly not trying to force you into what you believe is important. I want to play this for you. Yesterday, Laura Trump, the daughter-in-law of President Donald Trump, was on the Benny Show with Benny Johnson, and she was asked a question about the president's role in this Epstein investigation, the loud cry from the MAGA movement for more transparency. You promised you were going to release the names. You promised you were going to release the details, and here you are trying to, air quotes, cover it up. Don't think that's what this administration is doing, but in response to that question about, hey, are we going to get more? Is there going to be a change in strategy, a change in procedure with the way that these things are released? Here's what the daughter-in-law and perhaps future senator from North Carolina had to say to Benny Johnson.
No, as it relates to the president, I know that this is probably not his number one thing he's focused on. He's focused on a lot of other important things. We've got this big announcement with Russia going on, I think, as we're speaking right now at the White House. We have, a Middle East. We're trying to get peace over there. We're trying to make sure that Iran's nuclear arsenal is obviously completely decimated. We want to make sure everything is on the right track for this country. Fortunately, you've seen no border crossings in the last month. 0, by the way. I think that's incredible. No one's talking about that enough. 0 illegal border crossings in the month of June. Amazing how that's all gone. So I don't know that this was top of mind for him, but he hears all the noise and he hears all of the consternation out there, and I think he's going to want to set things right as well. So I believe that there will probably be more coming on this, and I believe anything that they are able to release that doesn't, damage any witnesses or anyone underage or anything like that, I believe they'll probably try to get out sooner rather than later because they hear it and they understand it. So hopefully we see that happen sooner than later. And I guess that would be my advice. But to everybody out there who's all worked up about it, there's no great plot to keep this information away that I'm aware of. I do just believe that maybe it's been slow rolled for reasons that hopefully we understand down the line. And I think we're probably going to get more transparency on it very soon.
All right, so we'll see if that turns out to be the case. Will there be more transparency with regard to the Epstein investigation, the names that are involved, the atrocities that were done? This is certainly something that has been on the radar of a lot of people for a long time. It has felt like there has been a cover-up. It has felt like there's a lot of mystery. There's been wild speculation about Jeffrey Epstein and the events surrounding his death. Did he indeed commit suicide? Was he offed by someone or some entity, even if it was potentially a foreign government that was involved in that? I don't know that we're going to get all of the answers. I do think what Lara Trump points out there, Lance, is pretty significant, as while this has become a rallying cry for the MAGA movement, because it's something that Donald Trump talked about on the campaign trail, it's top of mind for so many people, and yet for Donald Trump himself, it's not top of mind necessarily. Like as she said, here's the noise. He understands that people want transparency, but he's got a few other things that seemingly are a little more important, like how are you handling Russia and Vladimir Putin and the conflict with Ukraine? What are you doing to bring that ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in Gaza? Like what's going on that front? What about the illegal border crossings? What about the economy? And by the way, some new economic news out with June now completely in the rearview mirror. Those reports usually trail by a couple of months. A couple of signs that maybe consumer confidence was not quite as high in June as it had been in the previous months. and that there were still some inflationary concerns, which, if Jerome Powell and the Fed continue to lean into their beliefs, might mean that we don't get those rate decreases that people have so desperately wanted.
Well,
a lot going on.
A lot going on. But again, don't make promises to the American people if you're not going to live up to them. I mean, I voted for Trump. I have no remorse from doing that. The Epstein files, as I stated earlier, hopefully they're getting their ducks in a row and they'll get it to where they can release the information that is confirmed and it is not something where you get targets put on you and lawsuits everywhere. Again, I'm a patient person, but at some point, as she said, there has to be transparency here, and I expect that will be done. To what level? Who knows? At this point, who knows? But as you said, there's a lot going on, and to each has their own cross to bear. I don't want to hear about what all you got going on. I want to hear about you doing what you said you're going to do.
That's fair. That's fair. But that doesn't always come in the exact time frame that we want it.
Oh, sure.
I can
I'm
tell
patient.
you, yes, we're going to do this, but it's going to be at the speed that is necessary, not necessarily the speed at which you want and demand it.
I can go
when
with
I
that.
say you demand it, that means you demand that people be fired and people be held accountable. It's just hold on a minute.
Yeah, be patient. It's coming, I think.
We're not real good at that. We are not very good at patience. Nope. What's the famous prayer? God, give me patience and give it to me now.
Yeah.
Mornings with Richard Cross. We'll wrap it up with you coming up next.
From the Venable Glass.
Get the inside track on Mississippi politics. Yeah! Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Are you in the market for land? Big land, little land, middle-sized land? David Fisher Land Company can help you with that. Maybe you recognize that land is simply a great investment, and instead of parking your money in the uncertainty sometimes of the stock market, you think, hey, I'm going to invest in dirt. I'm going to invest in a piece of property that can be in my family for generations to come. If you want to do that, or you're just looking for a place to build a home or a cabin or get a hunting lease, David Fisher Land Company can help. They're based in Inverness, Mississippi, right in the heart of the Mississippi Delta. But they service all of Mississippi, all of Arkansas, all of Louisiana. 40 years of experience in farm and recreational land brokerage, land appraisals, and farm land management. So whether you're looking for 100 acres or thousands of acres, or maybe you just want to be part of an equity hunting lease anywhere in the Delta, from DeSoto County all the way down to the South Delta, David Fisher Land Company can help. They are the perfect choice for the property that you're looking for or the property that you need or want to sell. They've got customers across the Southeast. I'm not going to give you their phone number. I'm going to give you their website where you can find their phone number. You can find out more about them, see some of the listings that they have available online. DavidFisherland.com. That's Fisher with an SH, no C in there. DavidFisherland.com. Reach out to David, Jack, or Travis. They'd love to help you with your land needs. And do us a favor when you talk to them. Tell them you heard about them on SuperTalk Mississippi. It's DavidFisherlandCompany.com. I'm sorry. I just messed it up, and maybe I just screwed it up for you. DavidFisherland.com. David Fisher Land Company. Thanks for being with us on this Tuesday morning, the 15th of July. We got more coming up with you as the week rolls on. I'm in Atlanta this morning along with Brian Haydad and Michael Borkey in Houston, making it happen from SEC Football Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame. Ole Miss was here yesterday. Mississippi State will be here tomorrow. Today you've got Auburn and Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas. So what? You got the two teams that participate in the Deep South's oldest rivalry and the two teams that claim to be the real UT. It's a pretty good first year for Texas in their inaugural season in the SEC across all of the sports. I got a text message from a buddy on Sunday night. We were sitting at dinner on Sunday night, and Hey Dad looked at me and said, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm trying to help a friend." How was I trying to help a friend? Well, my buddy Chris sent me a message, and he's like, "Hey, is there a particular salesperson that I should reach out to at Belk Ford? My mother-in-law is looking for a new Expedition. She thinks she found one online that they've got in stock, and she'd like to meet somebody and take a look at it." So on Sunday night, I sent that message to one of the good folks at Belk Ford, and we got them connected. And they'll work on the deal from there. It really is that simple. If you're looking for the car buying experience to be as easy as it can possibly be, if you're looking to deal with people that you trust, if you are looking to deal with a group that's not going anywhere, Belk Ford and Oxford Toyota, the Belk family has been in the automobile industry for over 100 years. They're not going anywhere. They've got a great service team, a great sales staff. They're going to do all the things that are not fun about the car buying experience, like helping you find the best financing available and making sure that you can afford what it is that you're looking for and trying to get you as close to or exactly on the vehicle that you want. Whether it's a new vehicle or a pre-owned vehicle, check out my friends with Belk Ford and Oxford Toyota. If you're ready to purchase right now, if it's something that you think's coming up in the next few months and you want to start the conversation, or you're just curious, reach out to them and let them know you heard about them from Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. I would appreciate that very much. And they're not going to be pushy. They're going to help you get in the vehicle that you want, that you need, at a price that you can afford. Belk Ford, Oxford Toyota, Highway 6 West in Oxford, belkford.net, oxfordtoyota.com.
It'd be funny. I'll show up and say, like, you said, a price I can afford. Can I set that price with them? You know, like, hey, I can afford $5,000. Can you make it happen? No.
If $5,000 is your budget, I mean, they're not going to put you in a brand new Ford F-250. Yeah. You're not going to get the Super Duty diesel with the.
That's the one I would want, though. You know. So.
Well, I understand that,
yeah.
But I mean,
you can't have everything
what I
you
can
want.
afford. Right. And they'll connect the dots with what they've got available.
Before we get out of here, what are you up to the rest of the day, brother? What's going on? We got about 1 minute.
Hold on, though. Yes. The answer to your question is yes. If $5,000 is your budget, they'll figure out what your options are.
Fantastic. Man, that's what I like to hear. Working with the people.
Probably just taking that out.
Oh, good, man. No more Frisbee-sized croissants and coffee. You're done with that. For
one of those a day and 3 cups of coffee feels like about the right amount of fuel to get the day going.
Fantastic.
No, we're going to visit with a lot of the folks that are here. You got Auburn, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas that are here. Some folks that cover the SEC going to visit with us. I think Borkey told you earlier, Rich Clark, the executive director of the College Football Playoff Committee, going to join us, and some surprises coming up this afternoon as well on Sports Talk Mississippi. Our coverage all week brought to you by Pearl River Resort, presented by Pearl River Resort, online at pearlriverresort.com. We hope you will join us starting at 3 o'clock this afternoon. I got nothing else, Lance. We're out of time.
We'll go have fun, man.
Let's, what do you say we meet back up about 21 hours from right now?
I'm in.
Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi. Thanks for being with us. Have a great day.
A Super Talk Mississippi media production.